to Rotarians and city staff and guests to the Bloomington Rotary Club today. We don't have our usual bell that we ring. I didn't remember to bring a bell. I could have found one at home. But if you would please rise for the invocation and then the Pledge of Allegiance. We welcome this gathering of fellow Rotarians, city employees, and guests today. Please help us to see those in need and give us the strength and wisdom to serve our community as we should. Help us to lift the burden of others while we maintain the dignity of humankind. Soften our hearts to be sensitive and loving as we serve together as Rotarians. And we do have a flag, of course, in the council chambers this morning. So we will do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And for the Rotarians in the room, we have a saying that we do of the things that Rotarians think, say, and do. Is it the truth?
Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you very much. Please be seated. And with that, who am I going to introduce first? Faith? Sure, I would love it. Jamie Verbrugge, our Bloomington City Manager, is going to come up and introduce his staff. We have many of them here today. And Council Member Dwayne Lohman walked into the room too while we were meeting this morning.
All right, I'll use this if that's okay. Good. Good afternoon, everybody. So this is Black History Month, and we wanted to provide a program about diversity initiatives that are going on in the city of Bloomington and also in the school district. And is Dina going to be joining us today? Okay, she can't make it. Okay. So I think that our team knows some of what's going on with the school district, though, so maybe they can put in a good word there. So our presentation today, we have Carla Henderson, who is our Director of Community Development. Carla is going to talk about Bloom in Bloomington, which is an internship program that we are doing to try and engage young people and provide them access and opportunities. And then Faith Jackson is our Chief Equity Officer for the City of Bloomington. She is going to talk about the Welcome to Bloomington program and also just generally provide an overview of our Office of Racial Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging. And then a couple other staff that I want to introduce. Padao Yang also works with our Racial Equity team, and Hillary Benson works for Carla in Community Development. So thank you to them for being here today. And which one of you, did you have a coin flip? Faith, you won the coin flip to go first, right? Okay, good. All right, so Faith and Padao are going to start off the presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Faith Jackson, the city's Chief Equity Inclusion Officer. I feel like I have met many of you before because I've been before this group a couple of times, but it probably was about 2 years ago. And so it's good to see everyone again. Our presentation today is going to be fairly brief, but we thought that we would start with just giving you sort of an update on what's happening with the equity and inclusion work. And so we have a PowerPoint presentation, and I'm going to jump into it and share a video with you. It just kind of gives an overview about what we've been doing probably since the last time we spoke. And then after that, Padao Yang will introduce herself, and she'll talk about a special program that we have coming soon to the city of Bloomington. And so with that, Terry, if you don't mind advancing the slide. Didn't it slide? Oh, and here's a picture of the team. Oh, thank you. Perfect. So here's a picture of our team. Myself, Padao, and Mike Sable make up a small but mighty Office of Racial Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging that was officially launched last June. And so we're really excited about that and having the opportunity to operationalize that work and create a space for it in the organization. And so we're going to play a really quick video, and it will kind of go through sort of the beginning of the racial equity work in the city of Bloomington up into about where we are right now.
In 2017, the Bloomington City Council committed to act courageously to advance racial equity, Since then, the city has aimed to integrate race and equity principles into all operations, projects, and services of the city. In 2019, the city hired Faith Jackson, its first ever racial equity coordinator. In this role, the racial equity coordinator promotes equity and champions disparity reduction solutions. The role provides guidance, education, and technical assistance to all city departments as they develop sustainable methods in achieving equitable outcomes and service. In addition, this role works with community partners to promote equity and inclusion within the city of Bloomington and throughout the region, producing measurable improvements and disparity reductions, and works to resolve issues rooted in bias and discrimination through research, education, and interventions. Over the span of 2 years, the city has developed internal and external teams to support staff leading this work. Our racial equity action teams advance racial equity work from the unique perspectives of individual departments and divisions and are guided by the city's racial equity business plan. Our Racial Equity Strategic Planning Committee is a community-driven effort charged with identifying collaborative policy and operational strategies needed to disrupt racial disparities. In an effort to build on this work, the city is expanding its team and hired an equity and inclusion program specialist. Padao Yang joined the team in May and helps advance the City of Bloomington's equity and inclusion strategic priorities by planning, developing, implementing, and evaluating programs, events, and activities designed to educate and achieve fair and equitable outcomes. We are excited to announce that the City of Bloomington has established the Office of Racial Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging to build organizational capacity to address systemic inequalities and support system change throughout the organization to ensure equity, inclusion, and belonging are emphasized. We know that our progress is made possible through community support and partnership. If you are interested in learning more or collaborating with the city to help advance racial equity, please email equity@bloomingtonmn.gov.
So you can email us or you can stop me after the presentation today if you're interested about learning more and or engaging with our office. And so with that, I am going to turn it over to Padao, and she's going to talk about a really exciting program that's coming to the city of Bloomington, and I think you all will be excited about it as well. So Padao.
Thank you, Faith. As Faith mentioned, my first name is Padao, last name is Yang, and I use she, her pronouns. I'm the Equity and Inclusion Program Specialist that was mentioned in the video here. But the spotlight project that we wanted to talk about is our Welcome to Bloomington program. And the city developed the Welcome to Bloomington program as a new initiative. Sorry, I'm getting a little distracted for the screen. Just to ensure that new residents and longstanding residents from underrepresented populations feel welcome at the city of Bloomington. And this builds opportunity for community connections, trusting relationships, volunteer opportunity for all, and it doesn't require any experience or expertise. And it aligns with our Bloomington Together Tomorrow, the value of creating a connected community. You can go to the next slide, please. And so part of these, the Welcome to Bloomington program, we have 4 key components that we want to embed into it. The first one is monthly resident meetings. And these monthly resident meetings will be hosted at various locations. And it'll be just a fun and informal way for new residents to come together and learn about what's offered in the city, but also what are some resources within the City of Bloomington community that they can go and learn more from as well. We can go next slide. The second identifying part of the program is quarterly resource workshops that's going to be held at the city, hosted by city departments and divisions. And this is really an opportunity for new residents to learn about what are city resources, services, and programs that is welcome to them. We can also showcase by having various fairs on the City of Bloomington location here, and so that we can also look into community partnerships organizations with them as well. Go to the next slide. In addition, we'll have quarterly welcome to neighborhood gatherings where welcoming events and activities are organized by neighborhood volunteers. So the hope is that within each neighborhood, they can organize these quarterly welcome to neighborhoods gatherings. And it's just another way for close-knit community neighborhoods to get together and work together and have fun and just have some informal gatherings and get to know each other. We can go to the next slide. And the next piece here is the bucket list. We can go back one more slide. Oh, was that in advance? Okay, go to the next one. Thank you. So the next one here is the annual Bloomington Cultural Fair. This was an exciting piece where we will have a one-time event either in the spring or summer, so something that's nice and warm so people could be out in the outdoors. We'll have multicultural performances and live entertainment from spoken word poetry to dance and music, food and arts and crafts and food trucks. And the really big piece and exciting piece is the multi-generational engagement from anyone from newborn to young toddlers, all the way to anybody who's wisdom senior who can also talk about the different multicultural generational culture experiences that they can have there in that space too. We can go to the next one. And one thing that we're really excited about is the Bloomington Bucket List that will start by the annual calendar year. So starting in January and ending in December, where they will pick up a new resident who will pick up a card, or we're still working on figuring out a downloadable app. And new residents can pick this up at their home closing or move-in day or at the city hall. We're still working out the details. But basically, it's a card that lists places to go and activities to participate throughout the year within the calendar. And it's just a nice way for new residents to do things within the city of Bloomington that it's must see. And so we're gathering some input from community members as well about what are some must sees in Bloomington or places that you have to go eat or things that you must do. And at the end, the hope is that in December, residents will submit this bucket list that's all been checked by all these locations, and they'll get an incentive. And right now we're talking about a bucket list t-shirt. And so we're excited for that. And the next slide here is we just would love to hear from you all. What suggestions do you have for the bucket list? And we are going to launch an implementation team in March 2023 of this year. And so if you would like to be a part of that implementation team, we welcome you to join us and help us implement. And I forgot to mention earlier that this past October 2022, we had a design group that got together. And this design group made up of probably like a little over 25 people and got together to just talk about what they would love to see in a Welcome to Bloomington program. And so those 4 components that I mentioned came from that design group. And now we're moving to phase 2 of the implementation piece. And
thank you for sharing that, Padal. We actually have one of our design group members in the room, Councilmember Loman, but it was a really amazing group with a sort of a cross-section of people, residents, community members, partners, and things like that. So we're really excited about the ideas that they came up with. And I know we're missing a speaker, and so could we get maybe like a minute and a half to just hear ideas from this group about what are those must-do, must-see things that should be included on the bucket list? Is that okay? Yes. Oh, it's okay.
I'll write some notes.
Okay.
Thank you. So I think it would be helpful and interesting if one of the things we included on the bucket list was to encourage people to attend a meeting of a service organization or a civic club in the city of Bloomington, right? Because we know that communities are strengthened by participation in these kinds of organizations. And even though Rotary happens to be my favorite in the city, but there are a whole bunch of other organizations. And so encouraging people to access or attend one of those and get connected would be a good way to build that connection in the community.
Okay.
Thank you. And I'm taking notes on my phone, so.
Over here.
But Don, I see you.
Oh, well, I think they should visit every store at Mall of America and see what goods and services are available to them in this community.
Got it.
Wasn't there a survey that like it took an X amount of time to go to every store? I couldn't remember.
Visit every store in the mall.
My suggestion for the bucket list would be to recognize them here at a council meeting.
Oh, I like that one. T-shirt and recognition.
Normandale Japanese Garden.
Probably already on your list, but I would say attend at least one Jefferson or Kennedy or both sporting event and fine arts performance throughout the year.
Okay.
Another
Another idea? This was a good group to ask.
Speaking of fine arts, probably get season tickets for the artistry this next year. Once that, well, they're still able to get for the next 3 anyway. Am I on?
Okay, here's another one. Just a minute, I'll walk quickly.
Another bucket list item would be to enjoy the very well-maintained trails and parks throughout the city.
Okay. Thank you, Terry. All right. Well, we got a lot of ideas from this group. Oh, is there one more? No?
Any more ideas? Oh, we've got another one. Judy.
Along the arts, I also suggest that attending a production of the Bloomington Symphony would be a really good thing to put on the bucket list.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you all so much for those ideas. Oh, we
have one
keep
more?
coming.
Oh, she said have a beer at our craft brewery in Bloomington. 9 Mile Brewery.
Nice one. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for sharing those ideas with us. As you probably can tell, we're really excited about this, and we think it'll be a really cool thing for our new residents. And so as we continue to move this work forward, we will provide updates via social media and our listserv. And so if you're not on our listserv, you may want to join. Otherwise, we can just email Jamie, and he can pass along the information to this group. So thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So I'm going to ask Faith to stay up here because really this is her program. I just get to live in her world and implement it. So we're going to talk about Bloomington, and I'm going to have her kick off the first slide because this is really her words. I was like, why am I? I know, but just come on. Roll with
Sounds
it.
good. Okay. This is what we do in Bloomington. We just roll with it.
Okay, first of all, we have to acknowledge our communications team for this beautiful logo that they came up with. So welcome. Yeah, it's all right. So let's go.
So the Bloomington program is a program that was designed in order to sort of really get young people out into the workforce, focusing more on young people who may not always have sort of like exposure to different opportunities. And so one of the things that we talk about all the time is that like social capital for young people is really important. And many people rely on their social capital, so who's in your network to get your first job. And so if you don't have sort of an expanded group of people who have connections and are connected to different opportunities, then you may be left out of some of that. And so the Bloomington program is an opportunity for us to connect our amazing young people with job opportunities that could really launch sort of an amazing career for them. And so here on this slide, it talks about why workforce diversity is a priority. I won't go through and read all of those things because many of you have heard me talk about that before. But again, just recognizing that as our community is changing in terms of the demographics, so is our workforce. And we want to make sure that we are preparing our young people with the skills and opportunities that they need to be successful so we can maintain a successful economy and so that we can continue to prosper as a community in the future.
So you see that first slide, that first box says Mayor and Faith met, not Carla. So that's why she's up here. So they met, and then we were contacted also by a local architect firm, Cass Wilson. And Link Wilson wanted to meet with us, and we had no idea why. And he said, I really want to know how can we get young people to go into the field of architecture. He started here in the city of Bloomington. He's a Bloomington resident. He started with 12 architects. He has a firm of 80. And he's like, we're just not seeing the interest. And so what if we got some high school students to come and work with us in the summer? And so it was like, the mayor and Faith were having this discussion. Here comes a business in Bloomington that's interested. And so you could see we had a lot of discussion, a lot of conversation about putting a program together. But what was great was that there are a lot of communities that offer an internship program. So we could just really take the best practice. No need to recreate the wheel.
No, we just put sprinkles on it.
Yes.
Bloomington
and
sprinkles.
The Bloomington, yeah, and so you know it's going to be the best. There's no question.
Oh.
So, you want to talk about why this will work in Bloomington?
Yeah, let's talk about why this will work in Bloomington. Well, because we have a can-do attitude. And so one of the things that was, as we were going through this process that we had to wrestle with, was like, when do we want to launch this program? And so admittedly, we were hoping to just like join other programs and literally just put a Bloomington logo on it. And that didn't work out. We found out that we could not just join in with like Brooklink and some other programs like that. And we had hoped to get this up and running for summer 2023. And so we were at like October 2022 when we realized, okay, we're not going to be able to join these other programs. We have to create our own. And so we had an amazing team of people from all across the organization come together. In 3 months, we're able to pull together the structure for this program, and the applications are live now. And so I think one of the reasons why this will work in Bloomington is because we have people who are committed to doing the work and will want something like this to come to pass. The other thing is that we knew that we had a good relationship with the school district. I'll have to Everett, Dina and her team and all the folks over there. So if we get businesses interested in that, we know that we can reach out to the school district and they can help us find students to fill those job opportunities. The other thing that I'll highlight here is that also just recognizing that this area, the South Metro area, lacked programming for youth, right? So we talked about there's all these other amazing programs like Urban Scholars, Brooklyn, Right Track, but all that sort of Twin Cities and Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center area, right? And so there weren't those opportunities for our students in this area, and we wanted to create that. And so we thought that all of these things made this a really good program that would be successful in Bloomington.
And I would be remiss if I don't talk about the support we got from the highest level. Like, you just can't come up with an idea and just like, we're going to run with it and use city resources. Mm-hmm. And so our city manager has been, 100% supportive. That's the culture he has here, leadership at all levels. And so, we like took this group of 20-something employees and they kind of came up with this vision, and Jamie has supported it since day one. So I just wanted to acknowledge his support.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. So here's our checklist, and we are right on track. We, convened this group. We assigned committees. They met. We got this program design and criteria. Applications are live. They went live February 1st, and we're just waiting to receive the applications and then begin interviews. Not only
we have about 4 applications so far.
It's funny because Nancy Steele in our HR department, she was like, the first application came in, and she said she wanted to email everybody. She was like, okay, I just can't respond every time we get an application, but because everybody is so heavily invested in making sure that this is a success. And so we're super excited about what's to come. And this is our first year, so it's a pilot. I will also have to acknowledge our city attorney, Melissa Manderscheid, and her team, because again, she sees it through the lens of liability. So there were lots and lots of questions about, what is the city taking on and what's our role? And we forged ahead, and she sent me a text on Friday afternoon, and she was like, because I acknowledged her on social media, and she thanked me for the post and said, we just forged ahead and we got it done. And that's the Bloomington can-do attitude. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I was curious. So you've got, the applications, but how many opportunities?
Ooh. I was just about to sneak in a shameless plug, and that was perfect timing. So we are still looking for employers to take students. We have some people who've committed, but there's actually an application for employers to fill out. And so we're receiving those applications. We have about 6 employers who've committed to say, yes, we're going to do that. But we're like, we'll know for sure, like after we get your application, and we can count you. And so our goal sort of internally, we've sort of set ourselves at the number 12 as the North Star. And we were like, if we could get 12 employers, 12 students, we think that's a really good program to get started with. And so we're about halfway through meeting that goal. And so if you know of any organizations, nonprofits, corporations, et cetera, who are looking to take a summer intern with a minimum requirement of paying $15 an hour, then please encourage them to apply. We think this is going to be something really special.
Yeah, the next slide talks about the milestones at one. Larkin Hoffman, our law firm here, has agreed. The airport, because they're heavily invested in other internship programs. The architect firm that I talked about, we're still talking to Dairy Queen, BCVB, and then our friends at the mall. I know they're going to be taking an internship.
Great.
Intern, I'm sure of it. So.
And then also the city departments. There's a couple of departments that are going to have interns as well.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the two different applications, one for high school students and one for...
Sure. I think it's in here now.
So
Yeah, here we go.
we have two groups of. Carla, do you want to talk about it?
Okay, sure. So moving forward, we're recruiting students and additional employers. So we came up with the age 16 to 24, and there's an 8-week program for high school students, and that will be from June 12th to August 4th. And what also is going to happen is that the intern will work Monday through Thursday, and then Friday attend a leadership program that will be held here at Civic Plaza. And then there's a 12-week internship for youth that are over 18, and that's usually the college students, May 15th through August 4th. The requirement is they either have to live in Bloomington or attend a school in Bloomington. That is the main, we really wanted to have this opportunity for people that, have been here, invested here. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we actually have a meeting scheduled with Nicole to talk about how we can partner with them. One of the things that we're thinking about exploring is thinking about how we can have the students who are high school students, because like Carla said, all of the high school students will work 4 days a week and then be involved in a leadership program on Friday. And throughout that process, this summer, we're going to have them engage in a service activity. And so we're looking at how we can connect with OASIS and maybe have some sort of synergy around OASIS for youth being a part of their service activity to complete. Yeah, but I don't know if maybe that's something that the Rotary may have an interest in too, if there's a service project or something like that you would want the interns to engage in. But looking to take any ideas.
Yeah, and if not this year,
next year
will be. Yes, council member.
Just two things. I hope that the planning department has an intern. That was a great experience.
I know the director.
I know that as a part of my experience through Bloomington Public Schools with that internship, that we had to give a presentation to this group here.
Oh.
Be open to doing that again. But I thought that was actually
That's nice. I really like that idea. One of the things so I participated in Urban Scholars, and so I call this project my baby because I'm like, and now it's not even a baby, it's like a toddler. So I'm almost going to kindergarten because it's growing. And
I don't know why it's living over with me,
Because you have people in my but I was an Urban Scholar, and I told people all the time that like I would not have been able to have a summer clerkship in the public sector if it wasn't for programs like this, because in law school, either you during the summer you clerk for a firm because you need to make money, and those with financial privilege were able to do sort of public service because public service just doesn't pay. And so I in the Urban Scholars program and the leadership program, they participate in Toastmasters, and there's a Toastmasters chapter here in Bloomington that I've been working with, and something about bringing them in to work with the students, and so maybe their final presentation could be a speech to this group.
Yeah. So here's some important links, and we'll make sure that they get shared with your newsletter. But we are up. We have a whole web page thanks to our IT.
Communications is amazing.
Our communications team and IT staff have been wonderful to work with, as well as legal and HR. Yeah. So that's Bloomington. Yes.
I'm going to have you report that.
What did I say? Recently, we've not been receiving our mail on a regular basis, and found out that no delivery simply because they're short of postal workers, and they have been for a while. But it's really, and probably the snow. I'm thinking the snowbanks and all. It's a difficult task. Age group. I don't know if the post office would allow interns there, but it might be something to check into, because they're looking for workers. And
for sure.
And the other thing is Culver's. Frozen custard is one of my favorite foods. I'm starting to drool. I'm sorry. And they might take some workers there too. So
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have to apologize to start with. I don't keep up with things, but is the Bloomington Civil Rights Commission, is that still a thing? And how do you guys work together?
Yeah. So Diane, do you want to talk about the Human Rights Commission?
Yeah.
Actually, the Bloomington Human Rights Commission is a commission of the City Council. So it is one of the commissions, boards and commissions that the City Council has to advise them on matters of human rights in the city. So it is part of the city, and certainly we all work together and support city programs.
Because they used to do a big school thing.
Yeah. They used to do a diversity day at the schools. I know what you're referring to during the month of May. Yeah. Now called what? Unity Day. Yes.
So definitely we're working to get the word out to commissions and inviting all the support from our community partners and things like that. And so, we're really excited about this program. If there aren't any other questions, Carla, do you have anything to end with? One more?
I have more things we can talk about since we have some time, if that's okay.
Okay.
So I don't know if there is something you want to share just about the Office of Educational Equity and how we partner with Dina Wade-Ardley and the team over there. And then the second piece, Carla, is I wonder if you want to talk about the Business Development Center as a next step project for us.
Awesome. Why don't I talk about our partnership with Dina, and then I'll take my seat and you can talk about the Business Resource Center. But so we have a really good partnership with the Office of Educational Equity, and I think sort of in general, right, with the school district. The superintendent and I randomly see each other in Falafel King, we just have a really good working relationship, and I appreciate that. And the Office of Educational Equity, because they have so many deep-rooted connections with the families that our office is seeking to serve and uplift in the community, we've become close working partners. And so I recently presented at their DDAC meeting about the Bloomington program, and people were taking paper applications home. They were really excited about getting their students applying for that. And even outside of this program, we've had people from the school district sit on every committee that we've sort of initiated here in the city related to equity inclusion, going back to 2020 with our Racial Equity Strategic Planning Committee. We had members from the school district who were on the Welcome to Bloomington Design Committee. And so, we appreciate the close working relationship that we have. And I know that Dina's team is doing some amazing work. I think they're in the middle of strategic planning right now. And so maybe TBD about what that looks like in 2023, but it's definitely a partnership that we value. So with that, I'll take my seat, and thank you for having me.
So I will talk very briefly about a new initiative that you will hear more about. We are calling it our Small Business Development Center. And this was really birthed a number of ways. It was like the perfect storm. So during COVID-19, the city received some CARES Act funding, and that was to be distributed to small businesses. And Barb Wolf was in a role where she was kind of tasked with getting this money out the door, making sure that small businesses were aware. And we realized that perhaps we didn't have the best relationship, or there was room for a lot of improvement in our relationship with our small businesses, because we really didn't know where they were located. And I remember her telling me she would go door to door on Lindale Avenue, asking people, informing them that the city had this money and that, they should apply for it. And so when I've been here, it'll be 2 years in March, and we received the American Rescue Plan Act funds. And the city manager asked us to come up with a list of requests. And so the Community Development Department asked for $500,000. We weren't sure what we were going to do with it, but we knew we needed to do something for our small businesses. We kind of kicked around a forgivable loan, or what should that look like. And then we discovered that fire station number 3 is actually vacant, because we have the brand new fire station that's built for the South Loop neighborhood. And our fire chief, Yuli Seal, just agreed that we could take that space and turn it into a small business development center. So with that, we have now raised $2 million of grant money, and Hennepin County and Creative Placemaking came forward with the check, and our HRAs putting money into it. And we've hired an architect. We have a whole engagement firm. We have small business development center committee that has been meeting to talk about what that space should look like. I think it's on 86th Street. And so it's 6,800 square feet. And we just got some drawings back last week. So we are fast and furious going to have a space that will be open for really focusing our attention on our local entrepreneurs, our BIPOC entrepreneurs, women, veterans, artists, and our youth. We really want to create a space instead of coming to the desk here and saying, I have this idea, and then meeting with a planner who may or may not tell them all the reasons why they can't do what they want to do. This would be space where they could come in and have the conversation. It's going to be a city-led facility. It's going to have city staff in there. And so we're going to put the bids out probably in the next 90 days, and construction will start later this fall, and it will open next year in 2024. And so I'm sure we'll invite Rotary out to the grand opening because it's going to be a great, great time. And so be happy to answer any questions if you had about that. Yes, sir.
What exactly types of services do you envision offering? For some reason, I was thinking heard something that sounded like loans or grants to new businesses or something.
So we will not be, well, we're going to partner with a number of financial institutions, and we're having conversations with them now that will be able to come and meet people where they are. So come to the space and talk about grants that are available for small businesses. We have a gentleman, Tim Farrow. He works at U.S. Bank, and his job is just to work with these local entrepreneurs, and he has a catalog of resources. And so we envision like he will be housed there during certain hours. We've been in conversations with Normandale Community College, and they have all kinds of training and development programs that would be housed there. We want to have space where people can come with their ideas and talk to, experts. Open for Business is a program out of Hennepin County, and so we have a contract with them. They come here. Now they'll be housed at this fire station. And so just having a number of resources and a place for people to go to obtain those resources.
Open for Business is a business startup and business expansion.
Yes. Right. And they provide resources that many local businesses have already taken advantage of. They'll help you set up your website or even incorporate your business and kind of walk you through those steps. And they have consultants on their team that they hire that provides this all for free. And so we just need to kind of channel all these resources into one space where people then can go to and know that they have an open door and all ideas, are welcome. We'll also probably have some space where there'll be co-working, probably have a little mini coffee shop in there, and just really want to, talk about, just have a space where people can come and just talk about their ideas. So,
Carla, Terry works over at my credit union in commercial lending over there, so I think he's probably eager to maybe have an opportunity.
Your kids in grades 6 to 11?
Oh, okay. So, in addition to the U.S. Bank rep, is it possible that other financial institutions
absolutely
will have access
yeah,
to
we're
the space?
we're not. I mean, the whole idea is like, we want as many institutions there as possible. So we have a short video. Look at that. Okay, this will explain it all. All right. I love our communications team.
My hopes and dreams for this project is that we create a space that truly represents our community.
We think that by focusing on these groups that are so important but that have been left out of the conversation, we'll be able to radically change and grow the local economy.
The Small Business Center will be a space that is going to be created and led by the City of Bloomington, in which local entrepreneurs can come with their ideas, obtain resources, meet staff, find out really what it takes, and we will be targeting BIPOC women, youth, and artists for that space.
We've convened an advisory committee, and so this committee is made up of various individuals that represent those groups.
And we have youth from the local high schools. We have a representative from Narmondale Community College, the council member that represents that district, a neighbor, the manager who runs the affordable housing units on site, a couple of artists and entrepreneurs.
I am here on the Small Business Committee to represent Midnight Toast, a home bakery that I co-own with my sister. I decided this was a perfect opportunity for Midnight Toast as well as the youth to get their voice on a city level committee. Not a lot of people think small businesses are a tangible task for the youth, and Midnight Toast and I are here to kind of prove that this is tangible and it's doable.
Knowing the path that we took when we created GOP Aftermarket, I thought it was really important and valuable to be able to bring the insight and knowledge and wisdom that we've gained over 20 years into creating this resource center so that everything that we kind of struggled with and learned throughout the process, we can possibly help someone else who wants to start a business not have to go through some of those and maybe get that stepping stone and foundation to like leapfrog some of the issues that we went through.
As part of the council's priority for outreach and engagement, we said all of our ideas that we're generating, all of our major initiatives, we want it rooted in the people that live and work in the community. Who better than to ask small business owners here, nonprofit leaders, community organizations.
Innovation really at its simplest term is something new that has impact. And we get that impact by bringing people with different experiences, different walks of life, different backgrounds, different industries together. And that's what we have with the advisory committee. So my role is really easy. It's just trying to guide that process a little bit, offer some insights, but ultimately the people who have been chosen to be part of this advisory committee are driving the work, and they're a representation of the best that we have in Bloomington.
We will be reusing the former fire station number 3. We have a beautiful brand new fire station for number 3 for the South Loop area. This building was vacant, really just being used for storage, and when we approached Chief Yulee Seal about the idea, he was 100% in support. We love the fact that it's in a neighborhood. It's in the backyard to 2 properties that are owned and operated by Aon. Over 500 units, so over 500 families. We are going to use philanthropic dollars and dollars from the federal government and the county to pay for the renovations. City tax dollars are not going to be put into renovating and creating this space. We believed the city had to show a commitment. And so the city was awarded American Rescue Plan Act funds, ARPA money. Community Development submitted a request of $500,000. Wasn't sure exactly what this grant was going to be for, but we knew that we needed to create a pool of money and resources to help our small businesses. And very fortunate that the city manager, city council approved that.
We also received a McKnight Foundation grant in the amount of $250,000, and we also received an additional grant from Hennepin County recently for $50,000.
And we are still waiting to hear from the federal EDA to find out about our $1.5 million ask.
As long as our funding comes through, then construction can begin in spring of 2023.
When we did apply for our federal grant, City Council had to make a 20-year commitment to operating this facility as a city-led small business resource center. And that was a huge commitment, and that was a commitment that says we're all in. We're all in to helping our local small businesses.
I'm so excited to start the relationships with businesses, just opening those avenues of communication. What's their story? Why are they even in Bloomington? What keeps them in Bloomington? And what can we do to help that be successful and to amplify their voices in the community?
I think it's important for this to be a city-level project because it feels really nice for the small business owners to know that the city has their back.
Small businesses are the foundation for economic development and growth within the city. So if Bloomington is looking to grow, be successful, be diverse, it's really important to invest in small businesses and make sure that they have the resources to be successful, because if small businesses are successful, then Bloomington is successful.
I'm excited for the future of the new place that's being built, and I can't wait to see all the people who are going to laugh and enjoy it.
This will be a birthplace for startups. This will be a place where people come up with the brightest ideas, and this will be a place that when we look back maybe 3, 5, 10, 15 years from now, we'll say that this was a moment that radically changed the trajectory of Bloomington.
Nice way to explain what's happening.
With that, I am also going to invite up our Superintendent of Schools, Eric Melby, Dr. Eric Melby. We have already started working with the City of Bloomington on Bloom in Bloomington. I do a portion in the school district with our career and college centers and at Jefferson and Kennedy, and so we're already engaged with those counselors and our students there. And Jane Fenton is in the room from Normandale Community College, also a member of Rotary, and we're connecting with them, as you heard in the video. So we have a great resource of youth in this city, and we're looking forward to all these opportunities together. And with that, Dr. Eric Melby is going to talk about some data and statistics about our students in Bloomington schools.
All right, thank you, Debbie and Rotary. So if you couldn't figure it out, I'm pinch hitting today. Dina Wade Ardley, whose name's been mentioned a few times from our Office of Educational Equity, OEE, was on tap to come and present, and without breaking too many HIPAA rules, I can just tell you she under the weather last moment. So I said, hey, I'm at most Rotary meetings. Maybe I can help out. And it's been great information here today. I'm thinking that because I didn't know what the city folks were going to be talking about, that I probably should have went first because I could have set it up with the enrollment. Because a lot of what Dina had put together for this group today is demographic information and enrollment data, but it'll still provide some context to part of the reason for all the great work happening at the city level. So, do I get to click, Terry, or? Got to get the feel of the clicker, right? See. So we have, as was mentioned, we're in the midst of strategic planning, and we had a huge data day last week with 90 folks from the community taking part, and we just overloaded them with data from the school district, whether it was enrollment data or academic achievement data or facilities data to help set the stage for the strategic planning. So some of these slides are from that information. But as you can see, going back to 2018, Bloomington Public Schools have always been about a 10,000 student school district and just north of 10,000 students, which I believe is our sweet spot. And when so you can see our trend data, and then in 2021, in the heat of COVID pandemic, we dipped down to a little over 9,600 students, and we're built to be a 10,000 kid district. So that's a problem for us, right? So was happy to see that after that year, we started to bounce back. We got about half of those students back. My math's not perfect, but we got back up to 9,800, and that's where we sit this year. We do this enrollment report based on an October 1st enrollment number, and this is K through 12, not birth through 21, because you'll see different numbers. Oh, Bloomington's got 10,600 kids. Well, that's because if you're counting our 2-year-olds through our 21-year-olds, you get a bigger number. These are the kids in our traditional K-12 buildings. So what do the racial ethnic diversity look like of those 10,000 or so students? Every year for the last number of years, we've ticked up a number in terms of our racial ethnic diversity. So this year, I believe, and my eyesight and looking at this, 55%, I think, students of color in the Bloomington Public Schools. And like I say, it basically is a point uptick every single year. So as you can see in 2023, 45% white students, 21%. Our largest racial ethnic diversity group is Hispanic Latino, followed by Black students, Asian students, and then the writing gets too small for me to read from this distance. But we are, a majority racial ethnically diverse school district. In terms of multilingual learners, you might hear these called English learners in other places or in the news. In Bloomington, we like to think of that as a huge strength for kids, so we call it multilingual learners. And as you can see throughout time, we've grown that population as well up to about 1,400 students, or 14.2% of our population this year are multilingual learners and are receiving English language services in our schools. Another interesting statistic is our free and reduced priced lunch status. So for years in the state of Minnesota, parents had to fill out paperwork to qualify for free and reduced lunch status. And as you might imagine, at some point in a young person and family's career through our schools, it becomes one extra piece of paperwork. It's kind of hard to get the information sometimes. So for years, we were hovering around that 40% free and reduced lunch price status. And then you'll see a huge jump in 2023 up to 47.1%. And you'd go, gosh, what did you guys do that was so great with your paperwork? And the answer is nothing. the state took over automatically qualifying folks for free and reduced lunch status based on economic data they have. And so I believe as a superintendent that we've probably been hovering closer to that 50% mark for a long time in terms of families and students with some financial challenges, and that helps explain some of the programming we'll be putting in place moving forward. Special education service status, as you can see, this one we do break out because so much of special education is birth through 21-year-old students. So in our K-12 system, we're about 15.3% of our total population as students served with individual education plans. But in the bigger picture, it's almost 19% birth through 21. And what I can tell you is after the pandemic, we're seeing more and more referrals for special education. And as you might guess, some of the needs are getting quite intense for our special education students. So what do we look like as a school district? Real quick snapshot. I won't read every number on here to you, but as many of you know, we've got 2 high schools, 3 middle schools, and 10 elementary schools in Bloomington. If you didn't know, we have 2 early childhood centers, Pond and Southwood. Pond on the east side right by Kennedy, and Southwood sort of tucked away in a neighborhood on the far west side. We've got 2 alternative learning centers, and we do have the state's best online program, New Code Academy online school. We've got about 1,900 staff, and you can see how that's broken down, and we've got a lot of smart staff because we got a lot of people with master's degrees and higher teaching in the Bloomington Public Schools. When I talk about multilingual learners, just for this group, understand that means we've got 5 major, we have all these languages spoken. I can't remember how many it is, but English, Spanish, Somali, Vietnamese are primary languages spoken by our students. And then if you put together special education status, English learner or multilingual learner status, and free and reduced lunch, you can see by buildings what we call our demographic index, which gives you some idea of some of the unique needs that come for students at Valley View Elementary, for instance, with 138%, when you add those 3 numbers together. So we like to make sure we understand who our clients are in our buildings so that we can program appropriately. Oh, am I running out of time? Somebody giving me the hook?
No, you get another minute.
All right. My slides are gone, but in terms of staff diversity, when you see how diverse our student body is, our staff, now this is an eye test for me, guys, when I'm looking at this, but as of this year, about 86.1% staff, total staff in the district, white. So that number we need to improve, and when you hear about things the city's doing, that excites me. We also have programming that we're attempting to do in the district, probably with help from the city, called Grow Your Own Programming. It might not shock everybody in this room that it's kind of hard to get people to move to Minnesota from other places. We know it's great, and I think once they get here, they'll like us, but weather's nice today. Anyway, so we're working. I'm giving a talk at Kennedy High School. Actually, both of our high schools have intro to education classes, and so I'm going to speak with the students at Kennedy, I think, and Jefferson this week. And we look for grants and pathways for students, right? And actually, we have a program we're just starting next year for our staff. So our staff of color who might be paraprofessionals. As an example, if you want to be a teacher, how can we help you get in a path through a accredited university to be a teacher? So we're working hard to diversify our workforce in the Bloomington Public Schools so that it more closely resembles the actual students who we have in front of folks in the school district. And I think you can probably see real quick, because I had to blast through this and wasn't quite ready for it, as noted, but there's a reason why all this stuff ties together with the city. So with that, I'll step back.
I know our speakers have a few minutes when they are finishing up here, but for purposes of our meeting time and to keep us on time, I am going to close our Rotary meeting, but thank you very much to the City of Bloomington for hosting us today and for the Bloomington staff that was here to work in partnership with us. I think there are a lot of opportunities for Rotary coming up, also where we can be involved. We are a service organization, and I heard that word over and over today. So we look forward to our partnerships together. And with that, I will end our Bloomington Noon Rotary meeting, and we will see you in 2 weeks in person. Thank you.